think that maybe the Chargers regret making their move to Los Angeles. I think they do. And it's funny, even though the Chargers are not the worst team record wise, I can't help but feel like I think they are the worst team in the NFL. They had great players, they have a bad record, coaches disappointment, and I'm sorry, but hey everybody, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic, and we're talking about the Los Angeles Chargers, the worst team in the NFL of 2023. Oh, the Los Angeles Chargers. A decision that I am still wondering why it was made. I mean, we all know why it was made, because of money. Money and status and ego, which is pretty much a theme for all millionaires and billionaires that do. They do things because of all those things. So I guess it makes sense. But the Chargers were a team that I just couldn't help but feel like, what is their problem? Like, what is their problem? They got Justin Herbert out of Oregon, which a lot of people thought maybe was a stretch, but he blossomed greatly. They got a great receiving core. Mike Williams was injured. He showed up. Keenan Allen was there. Antonio Gates had history. Lenny Tomlinson has history. The Chargers always seem team always have like the shiny brand new toys, but they never managed to mesh it together perfectly. And I think this season was just a whole entire history, even when they were in San Diego, just finally saying, enough! Just enough! We are tired of being a team of maybe, could have been, especially now that the Chiefs are your neighbors 2 times out of the year. And multiple times we have seen game where Chargers could win, but then they went for it, or they did this, or something happened that just ultimately ended any potential. And I think there were signs that after the blowout loss, or not a blowout loss, but more of like the comeback loss to the Jaguars in the playoffs, that should have been like a giant red flag of, we need to change things. We need to change things. But they didn't. They gambled on it, and it hurt. It backfired worse than they probably could have imagined. That, yes, they're not the number 1 pick if the Panthers, would have been this year's draft, but I think they are the worst team in the NFL of 2023. I think they are the worst team on all counts. So, yes, they may not be statistically the worst. I think they are the worst NFL team of last year. You might say the Giants, you might say the Panthers, you might say the Patriots, but I think the Chargers are worse than all those teams last year. So, I initially had hope. I thought there'll be an 11-win team that will compete with the Chiefs, maybe steal a win or 2 from the Chiefs, but I thought they were going to make the playoffs, and last year would have been washed away. They didn't. They went completely opposite and went 5-12 and made everyone just cringe in disappointment, and really emphasize more that, wow, the Los Angeles Rams team is good. I guess I'll go be a fan of them. And the fan base of the Chargers has already been small, is now getting smaller. So good luck and consumerism on trying to get fans who like the Chargers and buy merch and buy tickets and buy beer. So with all that, there is some hope. You got a brand new head coach who won a national championship in Harbaugh. You pretty much sadly cut a lot of dead weight and a lot of potential dead weight on your side of the ball, and get a nice scrub cleaning, so it's all brand new from here. So there is hope. And with Harbaugh pretty much being more in control of personnel, I think confidence should be warranted for the Chargers. But keep in mind, the Raiders are hungry. Denver is desperate when we talk about them. And the Chiefs are the Chiefs. So who knows what can happen. But I try to look on the positive side of things. But it's really hard. But The best game for the Chargers, before we start going to more gloom and doom, took place against the Chicago Bears in Week 8. To me, that was your best game in regards to just everything just feeling right. Now, granted, the Chargers were flirting with 500 for the first quarter and a half of the season, and they just lost to the Chiefs the week before, and there was just sense of like, we need to pick me up. We need to pick me up. We need something. Oh, here comes the Bears. Perfect. Cannon fodder to just smash the crap out of them. So they come in, and believe it or not, yes, the Bears went at full strength, but didn't feel anything it were. Justin Herbert did have nearly 300 passing yard day with 3 touchdowns. Wasn't really much more of a offensive balance attack. Eckler didn't really have a much of a great performance. Had less than 30 yards rushing. But he did lead the team in receiving, which that's why I feel like Austin Eckler is one of those, prize gem players, and why I emphasize more about running backs all out there. You have to learn to catch the ball. Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, when you have more of those receiving running backs that can run in between tackles effectively, but also can be utilized just as effective as a receiver to pretty much almost be literally at times a go-to receiver in situations. So a 30-13 blowout by the Chargers really just... They're only 5 wins. There's only 5 wins this year, guys. And a lot of them took place before Herbert. All of them took place before Herbert got hurt. And if you look at by opponent-wise, I don't count the first 4 weeks, and they won 2 games the first 4 weeks, so that's out. So 3 games, the Bears, the Jets, and the Patriots. The Bears seem the most appropriate one when it comes to, okay, they flex their muscle, they flex their strength. This game was sadly never in doubt. There was no indication, not to mention they were going against Baggett, the rookie quarterback who got his opportunity to start, and even though that's a very unique story in itself, but he got the opportunity to start against the Chargers, and sadly it was just a case of, you tried your best, dude. You tried your best. It was 30-7 going into the fourth quarter. You did your best what you can, It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's just sometimes you just face a much better team, and it happens. And this was the way the Chargers get, at least for their fan base, that, okay, we're bouncing back, because they did win on to win next week against the Jets, and they got back to 4-4, so they got back to 500 by the time. So there was some optimism moving forward. Sometimes you need some easy wins to get yourselves going. Now, your worst game, and the worst game is going to be controversial. Your worst game is actually a victory. Week 13 versus New England. The 6-0 game, which I believe I gave it to the Patriots' worst game. Why am I putting the worst game for the Chargers a win? For multiple reasons. After that, Herbert didn't play the rest of the season. Sticks became the starter moving forward, and I can easily people say, why didn't put the Raiders game, the 63-21 game? Yeah, but Herbert wasn't playing that game, so as I try to be as fair as I can with teams, I try to give their best and worst game when they're at their best possible. So if Herbert was playing against the Raiders in that 63-21, of course that would have been the game. Easy, no doubt about it. But since Stick was playing that game and not Herbert, I cannot, all with good conscience, give that, feeling of, okay, we have to, address what it is. And 6-0 is more of, this is a team that I think we all can agree that, how do I say this? You probably should have put 40 points on this team easy, especially with how inconsistent the Patriots offense were at the time. So in that regard, I can't help but feel that I can all good conscience not address that that a win for you was your worst performance. 6-0 against a team that you probably should have crushed. I mean, you scored more points against the Chiefs, the eventual Super Bowl champions. You scored more points against much greater opponents, but against a team that you probably should have squashed. Hell, it wasn't even a touchdown, it was field goal game. You couldn't get more? You couldn't get anything else? Really? The Patriots picked 3rd overall. You guys should have crushed them. And at the time, I don't think you guys were thinking about. Plus, that was your last one of the year, and the end of the season, I'm on a great losing streak. So, heck, that probably should have called the coach's fire job. You played so bad in a win. I mean, there's ugly wins. I get ugly wins, but there are times that even adults, whether you're a player or a fan, you should go 6-0. Really? That's what we got. 6-0. Doesn't look good, guys. It doesn't look good. There's lots of games I can see people saying, well, I should have done the worst game. But you have to address that a win is still your worst. That even your victory, I doubt anybody was thinking, whew, I'm glad we beat the Patriots. I'm so glad we beat the Patriots. Look. I mean, the Patriots had more yard, but it was barely 250. 250. No one really dominated offensively in this game. Both had 13 first downs. Time possession was roughly even. So I don't know why. I don't know why this game was incredible. But now, granted, there's another team out there that had a 3-0 game. So don't feel too bad. But yeah, the Chargers are such a unique team that I can't just give them a loss and say that's a worst game because they lost. I have to address that the worst game was a game they actually won. But the performance was so bad that, quite frankly, they should have been lucky the Patriots not get a touchdown and the extra point on 1-7-6, which I think would have been more poetic for the Chargers. Disappointment. Chargers, going to your MVP. I have nobody. So I'm giving it to the fans. The little fans that you have. Because one, compared to both markets of the Los Angeles Rams and the Los Angeles Chargers, the Rams have a much bigger fan base than you guys did. You guys going to Los Angeles to compete with that market, I can't help feel it was more of an ego and financial hopeful versus, a fan base of Los Angeles want two teams. Because let's be real, there are other sports teams that have two teams, but sometimes you can clearly tell one is more superior than the other. And one of those teams is Los Angeles. I believe for every 10 LA people that like NBA, you're probably going to find almost 9 out of 10 liking the Lakers versus the Clippers. But please, go ahead. Make a market for that. And then when your team starts losing in embarrassing fashion and dysfunctional and embarrassment, don't be sad when the Rams are somehow still more favorable than they are and you're producing a losing product for your fans when you probably should be up there with the Josh Allens and Lamar Jackson and that conversation every single year with the talent you have. That's why it's so disappointing to see the Chargers be such a mess when they have Derwin James, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, and you still look like, what is going on? You have all this talented player, but it's not meshing. It's like fitting a puzzle together when there's only 4 pieces, but yet you're still screwing that up. I don't know if it's ownership, I don't know if it's coaching, but it's just really, really embarrassing bad. That's a bad sentence I made. So the grade for the Chargers is one of the very few teams that deserve it. An F. Failure. All the way around. Everywhere. From fan base, to marketing, to team personnel, to health reasons, to coaching. F. Fail. Everything was bad. Everything was bad about the Chargers this year. The only thing that was good is probably the uniforms. I like the uniforms. But everything else was bad. You're number 2 in your own city. In some cases, you might be even lower than if you add the other sports, from the Kings in the NHL to the LA Dodgers to the Lakers and Clippers. You might be even further down that sports market of Los Angeles. So getting Harbaugh might be literally your diamond in the rough right now, and hopefully he can turn it around. Would I believe so? I hope so. I hope so for you guys, honestly. Because if the Browns and Lions can be playoff bound competitively more consistently, then the Chargers can too. That's the great thing about sports. Not every team that's losers stay losers. So, that's the Chargers. Alright, I'm sorry. I'll get just frustrated talking about losing teams. So we're going in the last part of the video, last division. Like I said, the Chiefs will be the last team we talk about. They won the Super Bowl. They deserve to be the best for last. So we're going to go from Los Angeles to Las Vegas and talk about the silver and black, because they are back as the Raiders. Will be the next conversation in our 2023 recap. Until then, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.